shortly after the Indian Constitution came into effect, the abolition of the jury system began to be discussed in the corridors of power. However, in many states, jury trials continued to exist. The jury system became controversial after K.M. Nanavati case. K.M. Nanavati case was one of the most famous jury trials in India as it changed the Indian justice system forever. K.M. Nanavati was a naval officer with the Indian Navy. He was second in command of the Indian naval ship Mysore. He married Sylvia in 1949 and had 3 children. He was put on trial under Section 302 and Section 304 of the Indian Penal Code for the alleged murder of his wife's paramour Prem Ahuja. On the day of the alleged murder, his wife Sylvia confessed to him of her illicit intimacy with Ahuja. There are different versions of the turn of events after the confession, but the common thread is that K.M. Nanavati asked whether Ahuja would marry Sylvia and look after the children. Following the heated and abusive verbal exchange, Nanavati shot him dead. Thereafter, he surrendered himself to the police. At that time, India had the jury system. Nanavati was initially declared not guilty by jury by a majority of 8:1, but the sessions judge disagreed with the verdict and referred the matter to the Bombay High Court. The verdict was dismissed by the division bench of the High Court and the case was retried as a bench trial. The division bench held that the appellant was guilty under Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code and sentenced him to undergo rigorous imprisonment of life. K.M. Nanavati appealed to the Supreme Court by a special leave petition. Thus, the matter came before the Supreme Court of India. At the same time, he made an application to the governor under Article 161. There are 2 issues in the case: whether it is premeditated murder or the heat of the moment, or second, whether the pardoning power of the governor and the SLP can be moved together. On the second issue, the Supreme Court held that the SLP and pardoning power cannot operate together. If SLP is filed, then the power of the governor in such condition will cease to exist. The Supreme Court upheld the judgment of the Bombay High Court, which held K.M. Nanavati guilty under Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code and sentenced him to undergo rigorous imprisonment for life. The Supreme Court's decision was based on the following grounds. First, there was a time lapse between Sylvia's confession and murder of Prem Ahuja that was sufficient to regain the self-control. Second, Nanavati asked Ahuja whether he would marry Sylvia and take care of the children, so he was thinking of the future of his wife and children. This indicates that he had not only regained his senses but also was planning for the future. The case was one of the last cases to be heard as a jury trial in India, as the government abolished jury trials as a result of the case. Nanavati was pardoned by the then governor Vijay Lakshmi Pandit after spending 3 years in jail.